My name is Madeline Hernandez, and thank you for having me. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the work that I do here in Napa, why I do it, and the impact that I see in the community. And then, can I take questions? All right. If you guys have questions for me, that's great as well. So I'm not just talking at you. All right. Well, my name is Madeline Hernandez, and my mother was born and raised in Panama, and my father was born and raised in the United States, and they met in Guatemala and fell in love over a weekend and got married. So my mom moved to the U.S. and whatever, they had me. And then many years later, I decided that I wanted to go to law school. So I went to law school with kind of one thing on my brain, that I wanted to do social justice work. And I didn't know what kind of social justice work. I just knew something in that realm. I don't know, work with children, with refugees, with I don't know. I didn't really know. I was going to law school. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So my first year of law school was very boring. We have to take all the classes that they require. But over the summer, Santa Clara offered a program in Costa Rica, and the program was focused on international human rights law. So I was able to spend the summer in Costa Rica and take courses on international human rights and work with refugees there. So I worked for a nonprofit organization in Costa Rica that assisted individuals apply for asylum in Costa Rica. So a majority of our clients that we saw there were from Colombia, and they were fleeing. And I thought to myself, hey, I could do this in the US. We have refugees, asylum seekers. I don't have to go to although I would have loved to live in Costa Rica, but no, I went back to law school. I had 2 more years left, and my entire focus was on immigration law. That was kind of my aha moment, I guess, being in Costa Rica, serving the refugee population there. So I got back to the U.S. I started, I finished law school, and my focus was primarily on immigration law. Luckily, at my law school, we had a program that was focused on immigration law, and I was able to not only serve asylum seekers, refugees, but I also started to learn more about what other forms of immigration relief there were. And 2 of the main types of applications I worked on in law school were called a U visa and a T visa. And these are humanitarian visas where you are assisting individuals who are survivors of violent crimes and human trafficking to gain legal status in the United States. And so that was the population that I worked with throughout law school and a little bit after law school as well. So I graduated and I started applying to jobs. It was 2012. No one was hiring. It was a really bad year. And I saw this posting in Napa, and I thought, Napa, ooh, I don't want to go to Napa. I was born and raised in Oakland. I went to school in Santa Clara. I just, I had been to Napa maybe once for wine tasting, and I was thinking, why would I want to move to Napa? There's no way I'm going to go to Napa. But I applied for the position, I got it, and I haven't left. So I'm officially, I've been in Napa for 10 years now. I live here. I own a home here. I got married here. I have a child here. So, I guess Napa was okay. And I love it here. So I'm very happy to be a resident of Napa and serve the Napa community. I just love it here. So yeah, what brought me to Napa and what do I do and what's my organization called? So that's kind of like why I got into immigration. So the organization I work for is called the Immigration Institute of the Bay Area, or IIBA for short. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have 7 offices in 6 counties around the Bay Area. And my role is the North Bay Regional Directing Attorney. So I oversee the Napa and the Petaluma office, along with my co-directing attorney. His name is Juan Ortiz, if you ever meet him. So across the two offices, we have 16 staff, and Juan and I oversee the staff. So what kind of work do we do, and why are we in Napa? So IIBA has been around since over 100 years, I think 105 years now. And we decided to open an office because we were asked to come to Napa by the Napa Valley Community Foundation. And so what happened was the Napa Valley Community Foundation funded a study 12 years ago now. I think it was 2012. That's 11 years ago. And it was by the Migrant Policy Institute. And what they did was they wanted to see the impact of immigrants in Napa County. And one of the main findings of that study was that there are a lot of green card holders in Napa County, and they are naturalizing or becoming U.S. citizens, going from green card to U.S. citizen at a lower rate than the rest of California. And what the Napa Valley Community Foundation found was that one of the main reasons was the lack of affordable legal services, immigration legal services in Napa County. So they did a statewide search. They found IIBA. They asked IIBA to open their office here, with funding, of course, by the Napa Valley Community Foundation. And they partnered us with trusted family resource centers that were already in Napa. Puertas Abiertas, Up Valley Family Centers, On the Move. On the Move has several programs. One of them was the McPherson Family Resource Center. And that was in a neighborhood primarily foreign-born, Hispanic, and so they partnered us with them so that they could help us with our outreach and education about the work we do. So we partnered together year one. Nobody knew who we were. Everyone was like, why do we want to become citizens? Who cares? And so we really did a lot of outreach in the community about the benefits of becoming a U.S. citizen. Some of those benefits include unlimited traveling. That includes being able to apply for more family members to come to the United States to reunify. A lot of becoming a U.S. citizen, it was correlated with home ownership, higher income, higher education for children of U.S. citizens. And so really we worked with our partner organizations to spread the message. We provided free services. And so year one, together, we filed 165 applications for citizenship, and now we're in year 11, and we are at 2,756 applications for citizenship filed. We started as an office of 2, just myself and a coworker, and like I said, now we're 16. Well, that's spread across 2 counties, but we're a staff of 16. And so we're really able to increase our services to meet the demand of the community, increase capacity. That was really important. I think after year 1, we started to think about, well, people don't just need citizenship services, people need other services as well. We have a lot of mixed status families here in Napa. That would mean some people are citizens in the family, some people are green card holders, some people may be undocumented. And really, we don't just want to be serving the people who qualify for citizenship. We want to be able to serve the entire family and see if they qualify for an immigration benefit that we can help them with. So the partners, we talked to the Community Foundation to see if we could provide additional services. We came up with additional funding sources so that we could provide more services, and we started providing services to individuals who qualify for something called DACA. So if you haven't heard of DACA, it's Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's for individuals that arrived to the U.S. under the age of 16 before 2007, who have no lawful status and have been in our education system, and we're going to basically graduate and have no lawful status to work with that education, right? And so we are still assisting individuals and apply for that benefit, which allows people to have a work permit, a valid social security number. Unfortunately, it is not a pathway to citizenship, but it does allow individuals at least to feel like they have some kind of status here where they can work and contribute back to the economy that they're working for. We also, like I said, those types of humanitarian visas that I used to do in law school, we also do those. So for survivors of human trafficking, it could be labor or sex trafficking. For survivors of violent crimes in the United States, which could include, um, you know, domestic violence, felonious assault, and other types of crimes. So we also assist with that. We are doing some asylum applications. We generally try to shift our we try to shift to the need of the community. So, for example, in 2 years ago, I guess now, August through October 2021, we saw an increase of individuals from Afghanistan coming to the United States based on what was happening, and so we opened up our office to help with asylum applications and temporary protected status applications. We saw an increase in Ukrainian asylee seekers as well, I think a little bit after that. And so we provided services for them. Currently, there's something called temporary protected status. That is a status for individuals who are in the United States and cannot return back to their country because there is a global conflict, a war, natural disaster. So right now, there's that available for Venezuela, for Haiti, for Afghanistan, for Ukraine. And so we do see, we don't see a lot in Napa, but we see it. We do see the individuals, and we also serve people who work or live in Napa. And as an agency, we don't have county restrictions, but our focus based on our funding is going to be individuals who work and live in Napa County. Yeah, so that's kind of the services that we provide. When we're talking about citizenship services, we do, that's someone who has their green card and they're applying for U.S. citizenship. We do monthly workshops or clinics where we see from between 30 to 40 individuals in one day. We wouldn't be able to have as many people apply for citizenship without our volunteer base. I see many familiar faces here. How many of you all have volunteered for one of our citizenship clinics? Yes, awesome. So we're continuing to have those clinics. If you're not getting the emails from Yadira, let me know so I can add you back onto that listserv. But we would be unable to, I said 2,756 citizenship applications. There's no way we could file that many without our trusted volunteer base. And so, thank you for your volunteerism. And if you aren't volunteering and you are interested, please let me know. You can talk to your friends about their experience and see if it's something that you would want to do. I wanted to open it up for questions, but I do want to share kind of a story to show kind of highlight the work that we do and show the actual impact, because a lot of times it's like, oh, okay, 2,700 applications, and I'll just throw out a couple more numbers and then I'll share a story. We provide consultations. Consultations is where anybody can come to us, undocumented, documented, and just say, this is my current situation. How can you help me? Can you help me reunify with my family? Or can you not? And we provide a comprehensive consultation. And of course, we can only assist individuals who qualify under, U.S. law to move forward with an application, but we see if, we can help. So we've provided a little bit over 11,000 consultations over the last 10 years. And with citizenship, plus the other types of applications we file, like I said, DACA, family petitions, those humanitarian visas, we have filed 6,657 applications over 10 years. So that includes those citizenship ones, plus, the DACA and other stuff. So yeah, we're a nonprofit, so we run mostly on grants and things like that. And of course, we have this great volunteer base, and that's really how we can apply for so many people or assist people in applying for their applications. One story that I've been sharing recently, because I think it highlights sort of the immigration process and the family reunification that's involved, and why it's so important for me and why I continue to do the work that I do. We recently had a referral from Napa County Child Welfare Services. They had come into contact with a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old that were living with their brother. In California, you have to be living with a parent, or if you're not, that the other person you're living with has to do a legal process where they get guardianship over you, or you're in the process of adoption. So that's why child welfare services got involved, because they weren't living with their biological parents. So after doing some investigation, we found out that their parents had passed away, both their mother and their father. And they were living with their adult brother, over 18. He was over 18 years old. And the children, the two girls, had no legal status in the U.S. And so, of course, when you have no legal status in the U.S., you have to either think about a pathway to get legal status, or you could run the risk of being deported. So this 9 and 11-year-old, they were in immigration proceedings. Immigration did know about them, and so they were at risk of being deported. They did have a court hearing coming up, and so the county said, how can we help this family? There is a benefit called Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, which these girls qualified for. So we were able to apply for special immigrant juvenile status for the two girls, and then the county was able to assist the two girls stay with their brother by having him file for the guardianship paperwork. And so they are now have lawful status in the United States. They're on a pathway to their citizenship, so they'll have special immigrant juvenile status. Then they will get their green cards, and then they will become U.S. citizens eventually. And so we were able to file a motion to terminate their immigration proceedings, meaning they're no longer at risk of deportation, and they're able to stay with their brother instead of being deported to a country where they would have no parents, no family, and really just be orphans in another country. So, I wanted to share that story just because I think it really highlights the work that we do and the impact that we have in Napa County. So I will open it up for questions. Lenore?
Would you share your success rate with the citizenship applications and the cost of the application and how that is covered for people who need help?
Yes, great question. So we have a 98% success rate.
Repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. So the first question was our success rate in the applications that we file. So we do keep track of our citizenship application success rate, and we have a 98% success rate. And the average nationwide is 92%. So we're higher than average. And I will say the majority of reasons people don't pass that 2% is really because they really want to try. And they might not be English ready, but they're just going to try anyways. So we definitely encourage people to try. We have citizenship classes where people can study to try to pass the citizenship exam in English or in their native language if they qualify. So it's not like they fail and then something horrible happens. They just can try again later. And then the second question was about the cost of the services. So I'll just focus on citizenship because it's easy. Immigration charges $725 for a citizenship application. Luckily, IIBA is able to assist individuals with what's called a fee waiver. So if they can show their low income on their taxes below a certain level on the poverty guidelines, or they have what's called a means tested benefit, Medi-Cal, CalFresh, or SSI, we are able to waive the fees entirely for them. So they don't have to pay the $725. We did have a grant also this calendar year where if someone did not qualify for the government fee waiver, we were able to cover the $725 fee for the applicant. So this whole calendar year, not one person paid for the $725. As a nonprofit organization, we do sometimes have to charge nominal fees. Fortunately for citizenship, we also have a grant where we're able to waive those legal fees as well. So not only did applicants not have to pay for the $725, but they also did not have to pay like lawyers' fees, legal fees for the application process. Yeah. And for other types of applications as well, we provide those services. Yeah.
I see that your office is for sale. Where are you located? would like to wait for the microphone so that people on Zoom can hear your question.
Oh, okay.
I see that your office is for sale, the one on 3rd Street, and I wondered where you have relocated.
So we have not relocated, and it has not been sold yet. Our current lease, so we just leased the building. Our current lease is through December 2024. If we do have to move prior to that, which we might, we will stay in Napa. There's no way we're going anywhere. And we just are going to have to send out messaging to all of our clients, our volunteers, and the community about where we relocate to. So we haven't relocated yet. There has not been any sale. So for right now, we're still there.
I have a question.
Awesome.
So for 11 years you've been doing this, right? Can you give me some kind of sense of how the application process has changed in those 11 years? Has it become, I'm sure it hasn't become easier, but.
Yeah, I mean, if we're just talking about citizenship itself, it has become, so I will say when I first started, the citizenship application was 10 pages, and now it's 21 pages. So that is one of the biggest changes. The information that the application asks for is, information about the individual's whole life, basically. Their travel in the last 5 years, their work history, their address history, information about their spouse, their ex-spouse, their current spouse's ex-spouse, all of their children, and then there's a lot of yes/no questions, which Lenore loves asking, about if individuals have any issues. So the application has become longer. There has been proposals to increase the fee, but that hasn't happened yet. And there has been proposals to change the citizenship exam. We believe the proposed change will make it harder, and so there's a lot of advocates against that change. But right now, it's still the same. Yeah.
So they do their application, it goes in, and how long is the wait before they then take their test?
Yeah,
How long
so
does it take?
right now, so since I've started, it's varied. I would say the shortest period of time between applying for U.S. citizenship and going to your interview would be about 3 months. And then during COVID, it got to a wait time of almost 2 years. We felt that there might have been a little political, like maybe they were delaying people's citizenship so they weren't eligible to vote, but that's just conspiracy theories. But yeah, we always see an uptick in applicants around elections. We always try to encourage people to apply for citizenship so they have the right to vote. We are not able to talk about politics or how to vote or anything like that, but we do just encourage people to have that right to vote, because as a U.S. citizen they do, and if they're not, they don't. So we want to say, if you want to be involved in your community and civically engaged, this is really important. There's an election in this year, and if you apply now, you'll be able to have your citizenship before that.
Living in Napa, I've known more than a few people that are undocumented, and they're responsible. They're working good jobs. They are commended by their employers. How do we get them to become citizens?
Immigration reform. Oh, everyone heard that, right? So yeah, so the study, I'll just do a little fact about the Migrant Policy Institute study. It found that there's about 23% foreign-born individuals in Napa County, which I believe was about 32,000 individuals. Of those 32,000 individuals, it was estimated that about 1/3 of them were already naturalized U.S. citizens, about 1/3 of them were green card holders that needed to become U.S. citizens, and the other third was undocumented. So there is definitely an undocumented population in Napa County. I agree with you. You know, the individuals that we see come to the office for consultations are individuals that have been in the Valley for 10 plus years, have children in our education system, work for what is the backbone of our community, our wineries, our restaurants, our hotels, do their taxes, are very hard workers. The only way for a person to go from undocumented to documented is if they qualify for an immigration benefit under the Immigration and Nationality Act. That could be a family petition, a humanitarian visa, but let's say they don't. Then they unfortunately don't qualify for anything. One thing that advocates have been pushing for many years is a comprehensive immigration reform. You know, so that would have to be passed by Congress. I think if you are political in any way, or if you can talk to we do have a very immigrant-friendly, you know, congressman here. Yeah, I would say immigration reform is really the only thing that I see that could be changed so that individuals, like you're saying, many years here, no crimes, pay taxes, all that, you know, blah, 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 would be able to qualify for a pathway to citizenship, something like a comprehensive immigration reform.
We have time for a couple more questions.
Yay. Yeah, I mean, I'm here.
What is on the citizenship test, and how do you prepare people to take it?
Okay, great question. So for people, for the citizenship test, there's 100 questions of U.S. civics and history, plus writing one sentence and reading one sentence in English. The way that we help individuals prepare for that test is we provide classes that are focused on the citizenship test. We have several types of classes via Zoom, in person, different nights, different locations. We also have tutoring, one-on-one tutoring that we provide as a collaborative. And so we encourage all of our applicants to attend those classes or tutoring sessions.
It seems like there was a lot of danger of people being deported, and I haven't heard, it seems like things have changed. I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a shift from the last administration to this administration. I would say 2017 was the scariest year in terms of having immigration enforcement in Napa County. We did have to respond to several people being detained or, you know, put in immigration proceedings at risk of deportation. I would agree that it has calmed down. We don't really see immigration enforcement in Napa County currently. We haven't gotten a lot of calls. There are laws in California, luckily, that I think have made it harder for individuals to be identified by immigration enforcement. You know, there are things called, one of them is called the Truth Act and one of them is called the Trust Act. And just in short, it's the laws that the sheriff and the police department have to follow to not turn people over to ICE while they, like, after an arrest or something like that. You know, if they have served the booking time and they should be released, they have to be released. The police department cannot hold an individual for longer than, you know, a U.S. citizen just to wait for ICE to come to pick them up. So there's several laws that have been passed in California to protect immigrants' rights.
Okay, for one more question.
One more. And Napa County is good at that, I would say. I mean, I meet with the sheriff and the chief of police, and they do follow the Truth Act and the Trust Act.
So I don't think you mentioned health care for undocumented versus citizenship. And my understanding is people can get emergency care, but could you speak to that a little bit? And is that an incentive also?
Yeah, I can speak to it a little bit. So California, again, is ahead of the curve. So, okay, Generally, an individual does not qualify for Medi-Cal, which is California's Medicaid program, unless they are documented. So an undocumented individual does not qualify for Medi-Cal. However, in California, 26 and under, doesn't matter your immigration status, you do qualify for full scope Medi-Cal. And then recently, that was increased to 55 or 50 plus. I don't know. I think it's 50 plus. And so currently it's just 26 to 49 are in the bucket of individuals that wouldn't qualify for Medi-Cal, although that law is going to change in 2025, I believe. It will be Medi-Cal for all. So luckily that will be great, because then individuals, undocumented or documented, will qualify for health services, which is so important, right? Yeah, was that, or do you have follow-up questions, or? Okay, awesome. So we do encourage people to apply for Medi-Cal. If you are in the individuals who don't qualify for Medi-Cal, you do still qualify for emergency Medi-Cal services, which include prenatal and postnatal, or other, emergency services, because of course we want to make sure that people are healthy and receiving medical treatment when needed. There is a big fear around receiving Medi-Cal because it's a means-tested benefit and provided by the government. And so a lot of immigrants feel that they can't receive Medi-Cal because it could put them at risk for deportation. We do a lot of messaging around that Medi-Cal is a safe benefit to receive. There was a teeny weeny little period of time where the last administration did put it under something called the public charge rule, which was not great, but that is no longer, so we don't have to think about it. And all we have to say is Medi-Cal is safe. If you qualify for Medi-Cal, get it. It will not ever negatively affect you in any kind of immigration application. That's the message. Yes, exactly. We need people to be healthy and safe. So yeah, thank you. Thank you all.